Hello, this is Connie Belden, and in this video, we're going to do what we did similar to the previous exercises. We are first of all going to determine predetermined overhead rates, what I call step one, by taking estimated overhead and dividing it by the estimated activity. We will use direct labor hours again in this problem, but remember the activity could also be machine hours or direct labor cost. Then in step two, we'll apply the overhead cost by taking that predetermined overhead rate that we calculate in part one and take it times the actual activity, in this case, direct labor hours. So let's assume that we have two departments, and in this case, instead of a plant-wide, we decided it would be better to have a predetermined overhead rate for each department. So we'll be departmentalizing it. Now, in this case, both departments are going to use direct labor hours, but keep in mind maybe machine hours might be a better way to apply it. So one department could be machine hours, such as assembly, and packing department could be direct labor hours. But in this case, they've already done step one to get the predetermined overhead rate for each department. So let's assume the assembly department's predetermined overhead rate is $12 per direct labor hour. And the packing department's predetermined overhead rate is $10 per direct labor hour. And the direct labor rate is $22 per hour. Okay, in this case, we're going to get the cost for job 23. So we're given the materials and labor cost for job 23 for both assembly and packing. Our job is to determine how much manufacturing overhead will be assigned to job 23, each of the departments, assembly and packing, and in total. So let's go ahead and go down here and fill in the information that we know. We know materials are $250 and $30. So I will fill that in, $250 and $30. If we add it together, that gives us $280. We know labor is $165 and $44, so I'll fill that in. And 165 plus 44 is 209. Okay, so we have the application rates of $12 per hour for assembly and $10 per direct labor hour for packing. But what we have to do first is we're going to have to determine how many direct labor hours for each department is assigned to job 23. And we can do that by taking the direct labor cost and dividing it by the direct labor wage per hour, similar to what we did in a previous exercise. Okay, so in this case, we'll do assembly first. If you look up above, the direct labor cost for assembly is $165, and we're given the direct labor rate is $22. So that means 7.5 direct labor hours are the actual direct labor hours for job 23 for assembly. For packaging, if you look up above, the direct labor cost for packaging is $44. The direct labor rate is still 22. Divide that out. That is 2 direct labor hours for job 23 in packaging. So now we can apply our manufacturing overhead to each job. Assembly. The predetermined overhead rate was $12 given. I just calculated 7.5 hours for assembly. So 12 times 7.5 means the overhead cost applied to assembly is $90. The predetermined overhead rate for packaging is given at $10 an hour. We calculated that packaging takes 2 hours. 10 times 2 is 20 overhead costs applied to packaging. I will add 90 plus 20, and that gives me 110. I will add vertically 250, 165, and 90. My total cost for assembly is 505. I will add vertically 30, 44, and 20. My total cost for packaging is 94. And I should be able to go vertically or horizontally. and get the total cost of job 23 is $599. We'll do the same thing we did in the previous problem. If job 23 produced 23 units, what is the cost per unit? Well, the total cost is $599, and the number of units was 20. That is $29.95 per unit. Thank you very much.